We understand the seriousness of mental illness.
The Justice Minister says the government was always going to tackle this complex issue. It wasn't part of the proposed law a year ago to let more Canadians get medical help to die, but some prodding from the Senate now means the Liberals are ready to extend their plans to Canadians suffering only from mental illness.
It was always the case that mental illness was going to be considered, and it was always going to be the case that it was going to be taken seriously.
Now, there's a time limit. The Liberal plan is that 2 years after the new law is passed, those with mental illness would then be able to get a doctor's help to die. In that time, an expert panel would be set up to recommend how to proceed, and Parliament would also form a committee to study this and other complex questions. The Liberals are now locked in a debate with Conservatives over whether this goes too far.
This came as a shocking revelation, given the difficulty people have in accessing mental health treatment across this country.
The senator who called for the change in the first place says it's discrimination not to include the mentally ill.
For those people who have lived for years, who've tried every form of treatment that they could find and that is tolerable to them, and are still suffering intolerably, that's unethical to not respond to their needs.
But opinions are sharply divided, including those who argue there needs to be better access to mental health care first.
I think it's a dangerous step, but we have got to invest in the other options for the suffering to end before we invest in this one.
It is a political debate about the fundamentals of life, and the clock is ticking. A court-imposed deadline looms Friday with no political consensus in sight. Catherine Cullen, CBC News, Ottawa.